And while many of us celebrated Christmas with loved ones, brave firefighters were on the front lines battling raging wildfires in Jongensfontein and Hermanus. Fueled by strong winds, these fires pose a serious threat to local communities as well as the precious ecosystems along the garden route. And to further expand on this discussion, let's now welcome Working on Fires Managing Director Mr. Trevor Abrahams, who actually took his time to come and join us in studio on Boxing Day. Trevor, happy Boxing Day. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy festive season.
Same to you. You know, our firefighters are on duty, so we're on duty.
So, Trevor, let's talk about that. There's been so many wildfires that have literally ravaged many places in Cape Town. Talk to us about what is the common thread as to what led to these particular incidents in these informal settlements.
So, Alicia, though it's the fire season in the Western Cape and parts of Eastern Cape, the entire fire season for South Africa this year has claimed 34 lives. 34 lives, 18 of whom were engaged in firefighting, not fortunate none of our firefighters. But it's been a dramatic fire season this year, as it has been last year. And again, this is not isolated for South Africa. This is a global trend, part of the climate change and its impact on the fires. You know, last year we sent 860 firefighters to Canada to help them out. This year, again, another 215. So this is a pattern of fires that are induced by the climate change, which is sweeping around the globe, and it's changing the nature of the game. The fires are much more intense, much more frequent. They go into areas that don't normally burn, and they are claiming lives.
And what is the general cause of these fires, Trevor, if you will?
The key driver in the climate change is the increase in temperature. So global average temperature had a record last year on the 4th, and then the 6th, 7th, and the 8th of July. This year, yet again, another record. So with those temperatures going up, the kind of dry conditions...
The winds as well.
The winds which are coming. So wind is the big game changer. So, you know, some of the sightings, we always say Jasper, which was a well-known resort in Canada, burnt out in 48 hours.
Yes.
Park fire in California in July, 50,000 hectares in one 24-hour period. That is one soccer field every second. So if you can imagine that kind of spread of fire, you are dealing with a serious change in the nature of fires. And it's coming to us. It's coming to us. We've seen it throughout the country this year already. The Western Cape has had a really moderate start this year, but it's picking up. You know, as we speak now, there are 4 active fires that we engaged with. The Kamenasi fire, which is near Uniondale, is actually still a big worry. We're bombing it with one of our bombers and a spotter plane over there and ground crew. The others have, in fact, been taken into what's called, you know, a containment and mopping up stage. But, you know, they flare up again when the wind drives it, you know, the kind of rate of spread. And I think what general public don't understand, these fires don't spread only by the flames. The wind carries embers.
Absolutely.
So they spread very rapidly and can entrap people very easily.
Are we prepared, Trevor? As you're saying, these fires are now coming for us. Do we have the necessary resources? You are currently battling out a multitude of blazes during this particular time. Do you have enough resources?
If we take stock as a country, you know, we have 5,300 firefighters in our ranks. We are not adequately resourced. We don't have some of the approaches which international community is recognizing. So the way the thinking is going internationally is that we need an all-community approach to these fires. Not just simply the firefighters will sort it out. So that means a lot of the preventative work, the education we need to do in our schools and our communities as we do, but also to try and remove fuel loads by having fire breaks, block burns, as a mitigating effort to try and limit how fires do spread, because they're getting bigger and much more furious.
Absolutely.
So, you know, then we also need to talk about the jurisdictions. You know, our fire service is essentially a municipal type of
There's quite a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to these firefighting departments, Trevor.
So if you have a country like Canada, which could have 12 countries help them last year. So you see where it's going. You have to collaborate, you have to work. But also we need to get our private sector involved. State resources are becoming stretched, and it's not enough. So when we've defended Yellowknife in Canada last year, which is the capital of Northwest Territories, one of the companies that contributed was De Beers. They're mining there. So that's the kind of mindset we need to change, and we're getting some insurance companies on board already, but we need a much bigger kind of collaborative kind of framework for dealing with the threat of wildfires and some of the other weather extremes that comes with climate change.
Trevor, specifically pertaining to the Jongensfontein and Hermanus fires, talk to us about that situation there. Were there any fatalities reported, and what is the latest on those fires?
We haven't had any fatalities as yet. I saw the clip that you led in with, you know, the informal settlements. So those are considered structural fires, and there are many, far too many deaths there really.
But this is also due to human error, people using fires, open flames and so forth.
And of course, with the veld fires, because it spreads so rapidly, it traps people very quickly. So this year, with our count at the moment at 34, it's a record. You know, so it's an indicator of how serious things are getting. We need to be spending times around evacuation. So last year, Canada evacuated 230,000 people without one fatality. We had a chaotic evacuation in Neisen in 2017. Last year in Simonstown, there was some sporadic evacuations. But we haven't done our protocols. You know, what's our escape routes? What's our trigger points?
And that's exactly where I want to go very quickly, Trevor, because we're out of time. I mean, where can the general public also take part in ensuring that they are part of these safety measures that you are trying to implement?
So we have a FireWise program, which we're going to bolster with a Canadian product called Fire Smart. We even get an app to go home and do an assessment.
Why all these international bodies assisting? What about local?
So, you know, we are part of the community. So right now, as we're hosting G20, one of the kind of initiatives there is to deal with climate change.
Absolutely.
So already we've been operating on this scale, going to Canada, going to other countries already. So we're looking for an international forum where we can strengthen it. So we're actually able to share resources more effectively across countries, and also knowledge. You know, obviously the knowledge is an important part of our armory in terms of combating fire.
Trevor, thank you so much for joining us on this Boxing Day. Unfortunately, we're out of time, and best of luck with all your collaboration and all your awareness campaigns as well. That is Mr. Trevor Abrahams. There is the Managing Director at Working on Fire on their fight with the recent blazes in various parts of Cape Town and the country.